Chelsea Football Club are the gift that keeps on giving. And that's all you need for an intro. This is the Arsenal Transfer Show. Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of what is the Arsenal Transfer Show. But today there'll be some Chelsea chats, don't you worry. Plenty to be excited about, plenty to be laughing at, plenty to be just smiling about this morning if you're an Arsenal fan, because sure, our season ended and we didn't pick up the trophy that we wanted to. But this club has shown such potential and such excitement and such reason to be so optimistic. And Chelsea Football Club are the complete opposite, the complete antithesis of Arsenal is Chelsea. And the continuation of the comedy over in West London is something to very much enjoy, to savour and to watch. And we'll be talking about that and, of course, plenty of Arsenal transfer chat as well in this morning's show. Good morning to those in the chat box joining us live. Peekahoo, Matt G, Blackshine, Jose, Martin, Stephen, Aiden, Lee, Sean, Peekahoo, Martin, Barry T, Shari, Jackie, Adagoke, Lee, Zaki, Rob. We've got Chips and Peas. We've got Melanie, Louis, Amira, Darren, Kevin, Andy, Maximius, and plenty more of you guys and girls as well. Adagoke says, hello, Gooners. The season sure is over, but our commitment to getting 1,000 likes on this video is still in place. So go ahead and smash that like button right now. So thank you, Adagoke, for reminding our very dedicated listeners. Thank you for helping us continue this 1,000 like charge and challenge. We reached it, of course, on the last two shows. Thank you to those that hopped back to the Monday show for the like brigade. So you can continue to do that today. Please do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, with those notifications turned on so you never miss a show. We will start today with the England squad. Another team with a questionable manager decision is Gareth Southgate choosing his preliminary squad, which will be cut down to 26. Arsenal's representatives include Aaron Ramsdale, Bukayo Saka, and Declan Rice. Of course, there's no room for Ben White because Ben White, as we know, has made himself available or unavailable, rather, for England. He will be staying with Arsenal. He'll be staying in North London. I imagine he'll be jetting off on some holiday to top up that tan. And let's be honest, it's like someone used to play those old Need for Speed games. We used to allow your nitrous bar to refill before you charge ahead. That is exactly the same for Ben White. He needs that tan top up to give himself all the energy he needs ahead of a brand new season. It also means, of course, that there's no room for Emil Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson, other England representatives. The former two, of course, have both got senior caps for the England team, but have not been playing anywhere near enough football to get a potential shout of being in with a chance of the European Championship team. Big absences, of course. No Jadon Sancho, no Marcus Rashford, no Raheem Sterling in this team. No Morgan Gibbs-White, to his disappointment, posting some emojis to his feed on Instagram. Not the best behaviour, mate. I don't think you're going to get any flowers by doing such things. But who are we to say what you can and can't do when you do or do not get picked for the England team? But going through it all, Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford, James Trafford, Aaron Ramsdale, the four goalkeepers in the preliminary squad, the pre-Euro 2024 training camp team. Jared Branthwaite, Lewis Dunk, Joe Gomez, Mark Gehi, Esri Konsa, Harry Maguire, Yarrell Quansah, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier, and Kyle Walker. In the midfield, we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, Conor Gallagher, Curtis Jones, Kobe Mainu, Declan Rice, and Adam Wharton. Big congratulations to him. And Jude Bellingham, Jared Bowen, Eberechi Eze, Phil Foden, Anthony Gordon, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, James Maddison, Cole Palmer, Bukayo Saka, Ivan Toney, and Ollie Watkins. Crystal Palace have 4 players in the England squad, which I think is great. I think that's fantastic. I think fair play to Crystal Palace, for the work that's been done in their recruitment, the work that's been done in improving, some of the young players coming through there. Adam Wharton, what an achievement for him. I genuinely didn't know too much about the guy a week ago, and you guys have been talking about him like mad in the chat box, and clearly there's big reasons for that because he's had a fantastic end to the season and it's earned him a place in the England senior side. He's only got, I think I was looking the other day, 1 under 21s cap, which really does show you kind of the rise of a player and and how much improved he is at this moment in time as well. But yeah, interested. Nick says Shane Bowen missed out against City. Yeah, I know. It is, but it's done. We move, Nick. We've moved on from the end of the season. We're looking forwards now. But Chelsea are too, because Chelsea have decided to sack Maurizio Pochettino, despite the really solid ends to their season, in which they managed to finish second in the table, returning to European football and getting that Europa League, unless, of course, Manchester United beat Manchester City in the FA Cup final. That would relegate Chelsea down into the Conference League for next season. So I suppose it's a win-win, really, for Arsenal in that. I think we'd rather not see Manchester United pick up that FA Cup trophy, especially because I would look at that as a bit of a missed opportunity, perhaps. But certainly, Chelsea going down into the Conference League would be rather amusing for whoever will be their next manager. The current kind of potential options for them are the likes of McKenna from Ipswich, Vincent Kompany's been talked about. Of course, Jose Mourinho's name is in the fold as well. But Chelsea are said to be favouring more of a younger coach to kind of start something of a project now. I thought that's what they were doing with their last two choices, to be honest. But it seems that they just cannot get out of this habit of sacking out. Chelsea Football Club are a comedy club, is what they are. This is the worst, such a terrible decision to not allow the continuation of this. And it's not just rival fans that think this. Their own players are posting questionable questions, if you like, towards the Chelsea ownership. Nicholas Jackson here posting to social media with some face palm emojis. It's absolutely crazy where we're at right now. And what I would say is that we're in for another very funny season of Chelsea. So get strapped in. I'm very much looking forward to it. I really, really am. Now, moving into a couple of transfer lines before we go to part two and your questions, of course, as well. We've got to talk about Desiree Doue, a player that I have to say I know next to nothing about. Rennes, attacking midfielder, 18 years of age. He turns 19 at the start of June. Scored 4 goals, got 5 assists in 31 Liga matches for Rennes this season. Very interested to see any more about this guy because, as I say, I know nothing. And Ouest France, are the outlet that reporting that Arsenal, along with a number of other sides, are interested in a very young, talented player. Of course, as well. He's played for the French under-21s and 23s as well. And he's a very highly rated player, it seems. But I cannot say I have heard anything about this guy or know anything about this player. So keep your eyes peeled, keep your eyes focused on this story. And let's see if this kind of moves any further. If it does, of course, you can be expecting a tactical breakdown and some expert insight from some French football experts. And lastly, the last story to discuss this morning is that of Alexander Isak, the Newcastle United striker who is continually linked with a move to Arsenal. According to Miguel Delaney, he is said to be the number one target at the moment for Arsenal. And he is the player that Arsenal are looking to try and bring to the club. But there are, of course, massive, significant challenges that Isak faces, or rather Arsenal faces, in trying to sign Isak because of Newcastle's stance on the player. They have no intention of selling him. And of course, there isn't really much intention from the player, it seems, either. There are suggestions that he might sign a brand new contract, but who knows? Things can change, things can grow, things can very much escalate very quickly in this world. So let's wait and see what happens with this. But Alexander Isak is said to be top of Arsenal's striker list, but we've heard that about a number of forwards. From my understanding, there are a number of players that Arsenal are looking at. We know Benjamin Sesko is one. We know that Victor Gyökeres is one as well. And either of those two, I think, would be excellent additions to the squad. But Isak, of course, stands out to me as the top option for Arsenal as well. That said, of course, Newcastle fans that will be, I assume, watching this show, because they always tend to, whenever we talk about Isak, or Guimaraes will be telling us that this is not going to happen. but you can never say never in football. Of course, if you would like to jump over to football.prizes or foot prizes in the link in the description, check out all the latest competitions that you can get involved with, football related, non-football related. And of course, if there's any Arsenal ones for us to talk about specifically to jump on, I will tell you about. It's one to definitely check out. There was an Arsenal prize that was only 12 hours long yesterday. If you weren't looking at the website, you would have missed it. It is UK only, of course, as well. And best of luck to all of you that would like to get involved with it. Right, let's go to part 2 and your questions right after this. Okay, we are going to jump into the chat box to tackle as many of your questions as we can. If you could, in helping us reach more than 1,000 likes on today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, by the way. It's very strange. But YouTube this morning, I don't know if people have not got, if you didn't get your notification. I think there's something wrong with YouTube this morning because we have more likes than people are currently watching the video, which can't be right. There's something wrong with that. I don't know what's going on. It's very strange. YouTube's going a bit strange, or StreamYard's going a bit odd this morning. It seems very odd. But it seems that we may need a real help with you guys this morning in the 1,000 like challenge. But yeah, very odd. I don't know what's happening with YouTube. Maybe there's an issue, but we may need to revisit this tomorrow. So YouTube's gone a bit strange, it seems. Right, let's jump into the chat box, though, and tackle some of your thoughts. John leaving a fantastic comment here. 21-22, 8th, 61 points. 2021, it was 8th, 61 points. 21-22, 5th, 69 points. 22-23, 2nd, 84 points. 23-24, 2nd, 89 points. And his prediction for 24-25 is 1st with 97 points. Imagine, John. You have to clip that, and we'll have to wait and see whether or not that turns out to be true. Rob says cheeky bid of 60 to 80 million pounds for Cole Palmer. It's obviously Todd Bowley wants to sell everyone just for the banter. P.S. Is Wharton a shout for a bid as well? He's one to look out for, it seems, Rob. I can't say I've watched too much of the guy whatsoever, so I don't really know what's going on regarding that. So I guess we'll have to wait and see if there is any extra kind of incentive for Arsenal to go in for a player like Adam Wharton. But at the moment, I've not necessarily heard that he's a player that we are looking at. But that can change. But we've not heard any kind of real solid links to the midfielder so far. Dwayne says, Tom, I've liked the stream. Isak is your first choice, but if it was off the table, who was the guy that you'd like to bring in for the striking position? Of course, the question we get asked pretty much every single morning. It's an interesting one, isn't it, about who comes in instead of him? Because you've got Gyökeres, you've got Sesko, you've got some older players that I know people like Tony and Watkins. But I think I do look at Sesko as a very good young option to bring in, knowing that we've already got a very much established centre forward, it seems, right now in Kai Havertz. So it's difficult. But I think Gyökeres, Sesko, either of those two, I'd be very keen on seeing Arsenal try and bring in during the summer transfer window. At least there's two players that are available, Tom, Benzema and Conor Gallagher. Would you go for either of them? Benzema, no. That ship has now certainly sailed. Arsenal need to be looking into the future. I might have done it in January if there was a chance to bring him in because it could have brought us some goals, but only on a 6-month loan deal, certainly not on a permanent move, certainly not with those wages. Conor Gallagher, very good player. Don't know if Chelsea would be open to selling him, but I think he's someone that people shouldn't overlook. Conor Gallagher, I think he's had an excellent season, and alongside Cole Palmer is probably their next best player. So I wouldn't necessarily be completely turning that down, but I know people have a bit of an aversion to Chelsea players. Alex says, Alvin, the two can be exclusive. Oh, what is this in response to? We opted for Nketiah when not signing Isak. We chose not to buy him when we had the chance. And Alex says, the two can be exclusive. There are a number of reasons why we may not have signed Isak. We did certainly not choose to sign Nketiah up to a brand new deal instead of signing a marquee striker. When the summer was round that we signed Nketiah up to a brand new contract, of course, Arsenal's financial restrictions, even with our significant spending, has meant that we haven't been able to go and sign a player like Isak. So it was never a choice between those two. So certainly don't buy into any suggestions that was the case. Jason says, Bowley effect, or was it rumours of some of the players not backing Pochettino? I'd reckon at least till the end of the year before the sacking would have been fair. I think he deserved to start the brand new season. I think considering how the season started for them, the transition that they went through during the campaign, all of the players they continue to sign at such a ridiculous rapid rate, I don't see why there is any reason why they should have sacked him. It's such a strange decision, such a strange choice. Ola Mukan says, this transfer window, we need a midfielder as good or better than Ødegaard because we don't have a replacement. That position certainly coming into the forefront more so of people's minds. Gang says, how about getting both Isak and Sesko? Yeah, I'd love to have my cake and eat it too, Gang. But certainly that is going to be going way beyond the realms of what is feasible for Arsenal. In 150 to 180 million pounds potentially you would have to spend to get both of them through the door, and Arsenal have got reason to spend more in midfield as well. says, I understand sacking him, but when you can't get a better option, just keep the guy. Cross Junkie says, isn't Mbappe available? Well, he is, but I think he's going off to Real Madrid. I think we all know after that Champions League final we can expect that to be announced. Amara Gunnar says, Tom, controversial, we score more goals each year. I'd sooner have MD, a midfielder, I assume that is, and a winger and a centre-back as well. I mean, this is the thing, right? There is this clamour, there is this desperation, there is this desire for Arsenal to go out and desperately go and sign a striker, despite the fact that Arsenal scored more goals than they have ever scored before in a Premier League this season, despite the fact that Arsenal won more games across all competitions than they have, and their win percentage therefore at 60 or 67, I think it was, something ridiculous like that. It's the highest win percentage that we have ever had as a football club. And yet there is this clamour, of course, for us to go out and sign a striker. I would sign one. I don't think it's like imperative. It's not my priority. I have midfield, I have a winger, I have a defender, all in the realms of being maybe slightly higher up than a striker is on my list, especially because there isn't necessarily that option out there. If you could get Isak, that does change things. That certainly does change things. But Sesko, if he's the guy, I'd rather go out and spend big money on a midfielder first. I'd go out and sign a winger first, like a Xavi Simons, or a defender potentially as well to bring in. I had someone leave a comment yesterday saying, why do we need 8 defenders? And that's because you need 8 defenders. Why do we need to bring in another one? Also, Zinchenko's future is not assured. We don't know if Zinchenko is going to be here next season as well. So that is certainly something that you need to take into account when we're talking about potentially bringing in defenders. Vanajutu says, would you try and offer Biereth an extension and then loan him out for a league that is an upgrade on the Austrian one to continue to see how he does? His numbers across the season have been very good. It depends upon the player. Arsenal were keen to, of course, extend Ruel Waters' contract. But at the same time, it became very difficult to convince him to stay and join for another season, and ultimately they weren't successful in that. Biereth, why would he sign a new deal? He was open to leaving the club permanently in January. I'm not sure that he'd be open to doing the same again during this summer window, and I think he would be wanting to sign up to a deal on a permanent basis. Luke, thank you so much for your kind comments. Just wanted to say a massive thank you, Tom. Been a Gooner my whole life, and finding the TGT community has given me a deeper love than ever before. Come on, you Gooners. That's a very nice comment indeed, Luke. And welcome if you haven't been welcomed already to the TGT family. I'm so glad that you are part of this group and that it's been very supportive for you. So thank you for that, Luke. Elise says, Tom, any news on the secret crush, Santi Cazorla, returning to the club? Not yet, mate. Still no word on that. He, of course, spent the last season at Real Oviedo. I think he would be very keen on returning to Arsenal in some kind of non-playing capacity in the future. I think Arsenal would welcome him back with open arms. But yeah, let's see if that turns out to be a pathway for him. Beak says, Tom, I'd like to sign a new forward, a versatile attacking midfielder, a defensive midfielder, a versatile defender, a backup goalie. Do you think it's possible in one window? That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. I think ultimately that is... I think that if you take out versatile attacking midfielder and change that to a winger, that's probably what Arsenal are looking to try and do to some degree. They will aim to try and bring in as many players as they can and upgrade upon as many players as they can in the squad. There is also certainly an element of needing to replace the depth, and it's not necessarily going to be about signing players that start, and all those players that we do sign necessarily going to be starters, but players that can push and compete with our starters and upgrade on the existing depth options that we've got as well. As also says, you're very critical of Tony, but wouldn't he be an improvement on Nketiah as a backup striker? Ferguson was notorious for having 4 strikers battling out for United. I mean, yes, I'm not going to disagree with you that Tony maybe better than Eddie Nketiah, but certainly what he would cost to bring in would be an awful allocation of funds when you can go out and bring in a striker like Sesko, for instance, who has got a better record more recently than Tony of scoring goals more consistently, is younger, 9 years younger, I think 8 years younger than Tony, and is showing that he can be that for the long-term future, and is also an upgrade on Nketiah. You've got to be smart in the market, and signing Tony is not a smart decision. Martin says, Tom, I think the clamour is not so much a striker, more for a clinical finisher, the guy who puts away the chances in a tight game or avoids the West Ham and Villa blanks that we've had as well. I mean, there are going to be games, Martin, that strikers do blank, you know. And if Havertz had been playing at centre forward throughout the whole of this season, interesting to see if indeed he would have been able to get 20 plus Premier League goals. The end of the season on 13, I think it was. So 7 off, and he played 2/3 of the campaign in midfield. If he plays the whole of next season up top for Arsenal, I'd be very interested to see if he gets 20 Premier League goals. It's worth pointing out that, you know, players like Victor Osimhen got more than 20 league goals just once in his entire career. So when we talk about trying to bring in a player that guarantees you loads of goals, right, it's because we need to look at the idea that that's going to be guaranteed if we invest huge amounts of money in a player. Victor Osimhen has scored more than 20 league goals once in his entire career. Kai Havertz, I have faith that if he was to play centre forward for Arsenal next season as our main striker throughout the campaign, could score 20 Premier League goals. I absolutely believe that he could. So why then spend £130 million odd on a Victor Osimhen when you may have a player that's already as good at the club already? Wilson says, why are you warming to the idea of Sesko? Again, I think it's because I don't see Isak being realistic. And so therefore, I'd rather bring in a player that can add some significant quality and depth and competition to Havertz. And Sesko, being at the age that he is, offers Arsenal a lot for the future, as well as what he offers us in the immediacy of what we need too. Jason says, what do you think about Alexander Sorloth of Villarreal? He's had a couple of good seasons in La Liga. Could he be a budget alternative to Isak? I mean, Sorloth has been doing decently. He has already played in the Premier League as well. He played, of course, for Crystal Palace for a time. He is 28 years of age now, though. I don't necessarily see him being the option. He had a very good season, of course, with Villarreal, but I think that's probably where his level's at, you know, for them. So, and he's in his prime years of his career. I think it would be the wrong decision to go for a player like him. Gooner says, sorry, Tom, but Tony's head, theoretically speaking, wouldn't fit through the tunnel. He's very much very confident, self-confidence as well. Lee says, yo, I caught a live show. Sup, TGT family. Thank you for tuning in, Lee. Dirk says, do you think there would be any fallout from the Mbappe deal to Real Madrid in terms of forwards they'll have to let go? Who would you take? I'm not sure, you know. I mean, Joselu is obviously going to go back to Espanyol. He's on there on loan. I don't know if they'll sign him permanently. They have a lot to thank him for, of course, as well. But I don't think there's going to be necessarily a domino effect with the Mbappe deal that might lead us to potentially getting somebody. Rodrigo is probably the only real one that people are talking about, which I would be open to certainly having a look to, but I'm not sure how realistic it would be. Ollie, thank you for being a member now for 32 months on the channel. Stephen has also been a member with us for 29. And Bakary Lasagna says, Mum, can we sack a manager? Everyone else is. He's been a member now for 17 months as well. It's the theme, isn't it? I just want to point out Nick B's comment from earlier. I was saying, did you see Ethan Nwaneri's goal for the England under-17s? I did, and what a goal it was. Fantastic. This kid has got so much talent, and I can't wait to see what he does in the Arsenal team next season. Dave, thank you for becoming a member. Oh, not becoming a member. What am I talking about? Thank you for being a member for 43 months. That is stunning. What's that? 12 months, 24, 36? We are 5 months away, Dave, from being a member of the channel for 4 years. You need to come back on, Dave. It's been a while since I've seen your pretty face, man. Onto one of our phone-ins. Make sure you get involved soon. I look forward to it. Baguma says, Tom, let's be honest with ourselves. As good as Kai has been, he can't be our mainstay striker next season. It's not sustainable. And however much we create, Kai can't bag 20 and above. Why not? Why not, mate? I'll need you to explain to me why a player that plays 2/3 of the season at midfield and scored 13 Premier League goals and got us 7 assists on top of that, so 20 league goal contributions. Why could he not play and get that many? Let's have a quick look how many games he actually played at centre forward in the league this season from starts. So he started centre forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, yeah, exactly. I'm just under a third of the season he spent playing as a centre forward. And in those games that he played as a centre forward, was it 12? He scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 goals in 12 Premier League games at centre forward. I mean, if he plays 36, that's 24 goals. If you round it up, if you're talking about that, So I really don't understand where this absolute block, the idea that he couldn't do that, is coming from. I don't get it. If he's got 8 in 12, why could he not get more than 20 goals in 38 games as well? Jason says, what do you make of Kroos's retirement announcement? Has it come quite early? I am a little bit surprised, that Tony Kroos is taking the decision. He's 34 years of age, but only he knows his body. He only knows what he's capable of. It's absolutely been an astounding career for Tony Kroos. I can't say I'm always the guy's biggest fan as a person, but as a footballer, I think he obviously Bundesliga's 3, Real Madrid league titles, 4 Champions Leagues. He's won 5. I think he won one with Bayern. He did indeed. 5 Champions League titles as well. A Copa del Rey, 4 Super Spanish Cups, 3 UEFA Super Cup, 4 UEFA Super Cups. Sorry, and he's won the FIFA World Club Cup 6 times. I mean, brilliant. And of course, he won the World Cup in 2014 with Germany too. So he's added that to his roster. What an amazing career Tony Kroos has had. And I remember the days when he was at Bayern, he was being linked to Arsenal back in the day. I remember those. What a player that he would have been if Arsenal would have managed to get him. Razor says, be serious. Kai can't be the only option up front. Who said he's going to be the only option? I don't think anyone's suggesting that. I've said I think I would go out and sign Sesko. I see there you're saying sell Jesus and bring Isak. I don't think that's going to be realistic ultimately to be able to do. So I don't think our expectation can be Isak. But I think Kai can be a serious option for us consistently up front next season. And I would bring in Sesko as well to give us more quality, more options in those positions. And Tarun says, what are your thoughts on Chido Obi Martin? He needs to take that next step. That next step is going to be the under-21s next season, and I hope he does that. And I look forward to seeing how successful indeed he turns out to be. So, yeah, there's plenty to be excited about on that front as well. Loga says, an all-out striker gives Arteta another play-style option as well. And Baguna says, respectfully, Tom, are you trying to say that we do not need another type of striker, another option in terms of style of play? I think I just addressed that. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Nanjay says, Tom, the reason you like Arteta is if you think Havertz can do the job for us, then it is unfortunate. What? You reason like Arteta? Maybe retype that question out again, mate, because it didn't make any sense. Steve says, Beereth has shown enough to be our third striker, and I think we'd regret letting him go. I don't necessarily think that we would. He's only got a year left on his contract. And of course, if he doesn't have any kind of intention to stay, how can we regret letting him leave? Because if he has no intention on renewing a contract, we can't have a regret at letting him go. He's done a good season in the Austrian Bundesliga playing for the team that won the title. So it's not necessarily like that's going to give you any indication that he's going to guarantee you goals at this elite level as well. Lee says, Tom, if Ramsdale would have been our goalkeeper for the second half of the season, would we have finished where we did? Probably. Lee, probably. I don't necessarily think the gap between Raya and Ramsdale is that significant that Ramsdale would have either got us more points or got us less points. So I don't think it would have been significantly different. Of course, the gap between second and third ended up being, what was it in the end? Was it 5 points? Liverpool finished. Oh, it was 7. Goodness me, I didn't realize we finished 7 points above Liverpool. So, yeah, probably not. I don't think if we'd had Ramsdale, we would have dropped 8 points more. Maybe Raya's got us a few more points than Ramsdale would have got, but he still won Golden Glove despite missing the first portion of the season. Bo says, I'm enjoying your drum and bass recommendations for the long, slow runs, not so much for the speed work as well. I mean, do you want some ones for the speed work? Check out some Sub-Focus and Dimension. That'll give you some good energy. Wilkinson's got some good new stuff as well. Tantrum Desire. Usually do some quite high energy stuff for your fast runs, Bo. So make sure you get them out. Ray says, do you think that Sesko is too similar to Kai? I'm assuming that the reason why you say that is because they're both tall. In which case, please do get that out of your mind, because the idea that players are similar just because they're the same height is not the case. I'd recommend going and watching Sesko and seeing the differences for yourself. Let's go to Med says, Tom, last season was the absence of Saliba. Ramsdale is good. I think that means very good. Absence of Saliba, I assume that's who you meant, was obviously a big problem for us as well. And Dave, yes, Metric, another good one for your energy in your high runs, your high speed running as well. And Delay says, Tom, I think we need to release Partey next season. His mistakes are continuing to cost the team. If he does go, I don't think there's going to be too much, fight back from Arsenal fans about that. I think it would probably turn out to be the right choice. We're going to answer some more of your questions. Please make sure you help us out with a like on the video. That would be very much appreciated if you could do so. As we said, YouTube this morning is going a bit weird, it seems. So it's I don't think it's showing the accurate numbers, because we've got as many likes that we have as we usually get on the morning show when we're live. We've nearly got 400 already, which is great. So thank you. Keep liking the video. But it's still saying over 100, only 100 people are watching, which is really below what it's going. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but keep liking the video. You're clearly there watching us, but YouTube is not recognizing that you're there. So it's very strange. Matt G says, Tantrum Desire sounds salacious. It does. It's an excellently named group, and they produce some very high energy tracks as well. So yeah, make sure you check them out. Ray says, I see Sesko as another target man. Is that because he's tall? I get really bored. And I mean this with the utmost respect. I get really bored of the whole, oh, he's tall, so he must be a target man. Or Kai's tall, so he can't be fast. Tall players are fast. I'm fast, and I'm 6'2", mate. So 6'2.5". Give us that extra. It's always important, don't want to sell yourself short. I should say I used to be fast, but just because a player's tall, there's this stereotype that they're going to be slower, that they play as a target man. Sesko's got some really good speed in behind, certainly worth looking into. And Havertz is deceptively quick. People think Havertz is slow. He's not. He needs to improve his control when running at speed. But he's certainly Thierry Henry, 6'2", and also tall as well. Absolutely, you're right. Bura says, why do we not get our own Norwegian up front and get Alexander Sorloth? Again, I don't think that's the right option as well. Yeah, Tom says, my YouTube's saying 39 likes and 103 watches. Weird, isn't it? I don't know what's going on this morning. I'll just give a quick refresh. It's now saying 366 likes on the video. We're still getting them up there. YouTube's having a weird one today. It's maybe they've sacked their manager as well. Baguma says, Tom, a list of players you'd sell, those coming back from loans and those who have been at the club as well. You can actually read that if you like. I've done a whole article on players that could leave Arsenal this summer. I think if you type in Arsenal players who could leave, I think, yes, the 11 players that face an uncertain future at Arsenal. I wrote an entire article on it. You can go and read it right there. So go and check it out. I've written it all down for you. I've also written a piece that's gone out, I think, this morning, which is the 13 Arsenal players who will be staying at the club this summer. Of course, who won't be going to the Euros, the Copa America. And I also wrote a piece yesterday talking about the 3 standout transfer targets of the summer that are kind of leading the way in midfield, centre forward, and in defence. If you want to find out who they are, go and read that piece. I'll leave another link to that in the description, or rather I will leave one in the description. I will leave another link to that in today's video description as well, but I've left it in the live chat for you to check out also. So go and give that a read. And go and check out that as well. Sanuga says, why is the club not looking at Scamacca? He is better than most of the options we are linked to and probably half the price as well. Of course, Scamacca, who's played this season at Atalanta, currently in the final of the Europa League. He scored 11 goals in 27 league games for them this season. He only just joined them, of course, in the summer after he left West Ham United. Didn't really get an opportunity, I don't think, in the Premier League under David Moyes. I think he is better than what that season suggested. Now he is 25 years of age, so a good age for a player. But bringing back a link from a few years ago, not necessarily sure. I think there are better options as well. Nanjay says, you don't look like a 6'2" guy. You look like a short guy. Well, Nanjay, I'll take it on the chin. Because certainly you're very wrong. Jason says, do you think Kivior should be sold, kept or loaned, considering Yuri and coming back, and if another new signing comes in as well. I think that Kivior has earned his right to stay in the squad. I think that he has earned his place in this team, and I think he will be a very key part of us for next season. Lee says, Tom, are you going to be following the club over to the States this summer? Sadly not. I'll be covering the pre-season from here. Our other writer, Kai Kynett, will be going out to the States this summer to enjoy the tour. It is a bucket list thing. It's something that I look forward to, hopefully one day doing in the future. But for now, I'll be staying very much on home soil, other than my week in Italy, of course, in a couple of weeks' time. I'm a real Gooner, says Tom. With England's defensive issues, I bet Southgate's assistant had kept... I'd wish he kept his gob shut with Benny Blanco. Of course, if that alleged story turns out to be the case, from what we've heard from, I think, The Athletic posted a story on it, it seems that's really backfired. And Ben White would have been an absolute gem of a player to have in the Arsenal team. You could have played him at centre-half with Kyle Walker to his right. I think that would have been a really good option. Maguire and Ben White, or Ben White and Stones, you could have played together as well. People will laugh at the Maguire shout, but he has had a good end to the season. So there you go. George says, Tom, can we get a TGT hat signed by Tom Cannon? Who is Tom Cannon? Is this the guy that invented like a camera or something? But there is a Tom Cannon who plays, or rather played, for Leicester City, if that helps. Back in the two. Oh, does he still play? He still plays for Leicester City. He's 21. There you go. There's a Tom Cannon playing for Leicester right now. Correcting yourself now, George. You can't get any merchandise at the moment, but it is something that hopefully we're going to be having in the near future. There's things going on in the background, so hopefully soon. Trevor says, try watching Sesko and then give your opinion that he is a player with good feet and a good head as well. I like what I've seen from this young man. There is this temptation to always just assume what a player is like without having ever watched them. I try my best to avoid doing that. So that's why when you guys have been saying Adam Wharton, I'm not going to jump on that train. I've not watched the guy enough to have a suggestion about whether I know if he's good enough or not. He's a young midfielder. I can have my thoughts about whether a young midfielder is the right player to go for. Well, I think we do need more of an established, quality, potentially even world-class centre midfielder coming into the team this summer. But I can't comment on the player because I've not seen enough of him. And I think there are certainly suggestions from some of the assumptions that people have about Sesko from the chat that they've not necessarily watched enough of him. Of course, there's morning, Tom. Why is Victor Gyökeres not preferred of late? Again, it's just not necessarily he's not preferred. He's on a list of players that Arsenal are interested in, but there's just no real indication of who Arsenal are really pushing for. The one that is, I think, the loudest right now is Sesko. His name seems to be coming up and being talked about a lot more. That could be agent talk. That could just be where we're at this point in the summer. I think we won't get a clearer picture of who Arsenal are going to go for in the striker department for another few weeks or so. At least the season's not even finished yet. Champions League still yet to be played. We've got tournaments in the summer. I think we'll get more as the weeks go on, more indication about who it is Arsenal want. So there you go. And Hal Gear says, hi, Tom. I won your fantasy league. Is there any prize for the winner? I suppose we should probably have a quick look, shouldn't we? I think I did mention the show that we'd give something away. Let's have a quick look at the league on my phone. Out of more than 1,500 competitors. Now, I'm tempted not to give you a prize, Halgier, because your team name is Mustafi Be Lucky. But Halgier, I probably butchered the pronunciation of. I'm really sorry about that. Helgier. It sounds Scandinavian, so I'm going to assume it's probably ignorant of me to assume, but it sounds Scandinavian. So I'm going to try and pronounce it as best I can with the Scandinavian pronunciation, which I'm awful at anyway. Finished the season with 2,600 points. Very impressive total. Get in contact with me on Instagram or on Twitter, Halgier, and I'm sure that we can sort something out. If more than one Halgier gets in touch, we will have ways of working out who the real Halgier is. So don't try and be clever. Get in touch with me on socials, please, mate, and we'll go from there. Lee says Tom just purchased a shirt for the 24-25 season for £12. I'm not sure it's real, mate. I'm not sure that's real. Virat says, with Arsenal hate rife, I have to keep reminding myself that rivals are only being allowed to cope with the fear and jealousy that they have. Rodri's comments give him the end of season sour winner award as well. Yeah, look, if you're getting any stick from your rival fans, none of them have got any right to give you any stick whatsoever. Only Man City fans can as well. So please do make sure that you're not biting, because you don't need to. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your listenership. Please do drop a like on the video if you would. It'd be very much appreciated. Have a fantastic I said Tuesday, it's Wednesday, middle of the week. You're nearly at the weekend already. Thursday's a great day. So let's make it through Wednesday and then we'll be there. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning, of course, bright and early at 8 a.m. once again to give you all the latest Arsenal news and views ahead of what is going to be an exciting summer transfer window. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy and respectful, and keep laughing at Chelsea. And as always, up the Arsenal.